If you've watched one horror movie, you've honestly watched them all. It gets to the point where you're watching, oh, it's the classic. There was never a second person. She was just bipolar and that was her second personality. Yeah, classic. When you watch something like that, you know what's going to happen. You can just guess it. You watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3, you see Nightmare on Elm Street 7. I don't even have to read the first comments in this. When you guys watch this early in the morning, the early sniff catches the worm, I'm sleeping. I stay up late at night to make this for you, and then when you early people are out here getting your sniffs, I'm sleeping. But I know, as I'm currently, so you're watching this, and I'm sleeping, but I know one of the top comments is all in caps saying, what about those LA Kings, Andy? What happened to them? What happened to them? They went up 2-0, and you got to give the Winnipeg Jets credit. The whole point of me betting against a team who played the night before is that if they go down early, it's going to be really hard to find the juice to come back, especially when you're without your best offensive player. So you got to take your cap off and say, Winnipeg, that's a hell of a job. They came back down from 2-0 to win a game on the road a night after enduring a heartbreaking loss to the San Jose Sharks. You got to give them big credit, and I'm writing that down off to the side because there are certain teams where, you need belief in the team to do something like that. Because you want to know what the opposite of that is? The Buffalo-Sabres, where they go down, and that's just the end of it. Which brings us to the positive parts of the night. Everything but that LA Kings pick. I know somebody is in all caps going nuts, but this is precisely why many of you don't have your car. You shouldn't need every last thing to hit to have a winning night. But as you've grown accustomed to these crazy ass nights that we've been having, you just think you take it for granted. Oh, we're just going to win thousands every night. But no, instead, we hit 3 out of 4. We got the -1.5, which many of you were skeptical of. Said, oh, Avalanche has the backup goalie. I don't trust them. They're not that good. But that backup goalie was brought in after the second period when they played the Flames. They won, gave him the next start. He played incredible. That game was over before it started. The Buffalo Sabres, they didn't have their car as much as none of you have yours. And I was reading through some of the comments. Apparently, many of you people think you have your car now. You think you have your car? Why? Because I helped you hit some big same-game parlays in the last week or so. You guys, you leased a car, and I had to co-sign it for you. You're behind the wheel, but it's because of me. And you start acting up. You come home with a speeding ticket. I'll default that payment. We're taking that car back. I was also reading in the comments, some of you guys really leave some hilarious ones. This one was my favorite. Andy's taught me 2 things. Number 1, the power of ruckus. And 2, I've never had my car. The power of ruckus compels you, my friend. And also, there's somebody in the comments who I think for years now, I don't know why they keep watching. If they're upset, I want to let you know, sir, miss, whoever you are, I have no clue that I'm doing this. You told me that I will not be in Charles in charge because I break the 3rd commandment. I think the original Charles in charge broke a couple worse rules than that. But I want you to know, I have no clue that I've never said, I don't know if I did that already in this video. You got to understand, there are 2 lanes. I tell people this with, I don't celebrate Christmas. Anybody can celebrate Christmas because there are 2 Christmases. There's the religious Christmas where, it rises and then you all the stuff. And then there's the ho, 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 fat guy dropping off gifts at the mall, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jingle All the Way, punch a reindeer in the face, watch A Christmas Story type Christmas. There's an American Christmas and then the religious Christmas. There's using the Lord's name in vain and then just saying the Islanders have had a godforsaken power play for a couple years. That's not using the Lord's name in vain. That's using a whole separate thing. That's using the hockey god's name in vain. So I just want to clear that up because, I don't want to, I'm not a commandment. Either there should be voluntary commandment breakers and involuntary commandment breakers. Just like, you don't go to jail for involuntary manslaughter. It happened on accident. So, when you bestow these, and by the way, isn't my sentence supposed to be given by someone else? Shouldn't be you. Anyway, the power of ruckus compels you. And do I have good news for you? You know who smells some ruckus tonight? A guy who you like. He's in Nevada. And that's the many people of Area 51, the bunker dwellers at Odd Shopper Premium, cooking us those plus EV bets. When I see an over, I'm excited to tell you guys, guys, we got an OS Premium backed over. And I'm sorry to keep doing this. On the first day of Sniff Miss. Well, on the first day of Sniff Miss, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I got to keep reiterating the Odd Shopper Premium bets. The over on the Senators-Rangers game. The over on the Buffalo-Detroit game. The -1.5 for the Islanders against the Blue Jackets. The +1.5 for the Islanders against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The -1.5 for the Edmonton Oilers. And then the -1.5 for the Colorado Avalanche. They just keep hitting for you guys. I think that you should sign up for Odd Shopper Premium so that I don't have to keep telling you guys this. It's not a miracle of what I'm doing. I go to Odd Shopper Premium before I make this video. I see the top one listed for NHL, and especially if it's something that I can see, I spit it out to you. You guys can do that same thing by joining Odd Shopper Premium, and the link is in the description of this video. You don't have to, but you see what we're doing with it, and you see what it's done for us this time around. So we have an over 6.5 in the Toronto-Columbus game. The power of ruckus compels you. And now you guys know the formula. If you see over 6.5, my philosophy is, if you're telling me there's going to be 7 goals in this game, then let's find some player props to put in there so we can maximize that sniff. If the sniff is over 6.5, let's maximize this sniff. It's like playing supermarket sweep. You got one cart, put what you can in it, and if it's too much, then we'll leave it out, but fit what you can in there. So if we got over 6.5, let's go over 6.5. I mean, there are all sorts of assortments that you can do here, but a chalky one would be over 1.5 points for Matthews and a point for Zach Werenski. But, if you really want to go a little, if this is going over 6.5, why don't we do 2 points for Bertuzzi on Toronto, and then we do a point for Fantilli. So you're talking about 2 plus monies and the over 6.5. You don't have to pick a side in this, because tell me this doesn't feel like a Toronto mail. So they lose against the Islanders in overtime. Then everyone thinks they're going to lose the next night against the Rangers. They win that one. Now watch them come home and throw a stinker against Columbus. Leafs fans know what I'm talking about. They're an extremely frustrating team to watch, because you never know which version of the Leafs you're going to get. You can do Marner 2 points, with Johnny Gaudreau a point, any assortment. Or if you're just saying, no, I want my bunker Odd Shopper Premium. I was asked, Andy, why don't you list your bets out on paper? Because I'm trying to teach a man to sniff. If I give a man a sniff, I'll feed you for a night. If I teach a man to sniff, when I'm out of here, you guys you'll be teaching these for years, and you'll be able to build these on your own. You won't need me. So when that Charles in Charge remake is made, and I am forgiven for my sins, you guys won't need to be DMing me asking, well, what do I do in the Montreal? You'll know what to do. So over 6.5. Now, let's talk about some of Andy's old sniffs on the night. I'm going to reiterate, what the Washington Capitals are doing is actually more impressive than what the Islanders are doing. And how about that, by the way? I think 9-1-3 or 9-1-4. The Islanders have 1 regulation loss in 14 games, and I feel like they've played really good in 2 of them. But they're in a whole separate class as the Capitals. The Capitals, I'm going to keep reiterating. If you don't believe me, go look at the odds to win the Eastern Conference. The Capitals are pretty high up there in the standings in terms of their record. They're at the bottom of the odds to win the Eastern Conference. They're not stupid. You're not stupid. You know what it's like to not have a car. That's what you've had your whole life. You know, you can look across. I know another guy without a car when I see him. That's the Washington Capitals, a full squad without a car, and I'm betting against them. It's yet to be seen if Philly doesn't have a car, but I do know that their coach, many times in his career, he's gotten the most out of his teams. You think about when all those players left Columbus, when Duchesne left and Panarin left and Bobrovsky left, he still wiggled them into the playoffs, and they were a tough out somewhat for Tampa. I don't think they're that good. I really don't. But them at home against this Washington team, I trust that they're going to be able to outwork them. Give me the Philadelphia Flyers at home against the Washington Capitals. And don't you know, bump it up. You got to bump it up. We know about Philadelphia on the defensive side. We know they'll hold their own in that end of the game. Washington likes to play a similar game. They don't like to trade chances and go back and forth. I mean, they scored 4 goals in that game against the Rangers recently, but that was a game where they held the Rangers to 0 goals as well because they know they have to win defensively. The worse you are, the more you have to play defense, which is why the fact that the Islanders have only lost 1 game in 14 in regulation is astounding to me. Anyway, under 6.5, yeah, you're going to have to bump it up. And always remember, if you're going to combine money lines, puck lines, if you're going to take a team to win, don't take under 6.5 because you're wasting a goal. There is another potential ruckus game, and I know you guys see it, and that is the Ottawa Senators going to St. Louis. St. Louis fired their coach. Usually you get a free bump in the post-coach firing game. We saw that with Minnesota. We saw that with Edmonton. They both won their first game after firing their coach. Now Edmonton's, they got everything going now. So in this game, I'm leaning more towards ruckus, over 6.5, 2 points for Tkachuk, 1 point for Buchnevich. See if we can do that over at Bet Rivers. That will allow you to do that. They'll allow you to take Tkachuk for 2 points. Most sportsbook won't allow you to do that in the same game parlay. So go over to Bet Rivers. You put 2 points for Tkachuk, 1 for Pavel Buchnevich, and then the over 6.5. And if you do that over at Bet Rivers and you're a new user, your first bet's going to be risk-free up to $500. Some states is $250, and a few are even like $100. Yeah, like those Price is Right tiers, like on Plinko or something like that, where the chips go and ding, ding, 500 risk-free bet. Click the link down below in the description of this video, and then when you sign up, it will tell you how much your first bet is risk-free for. And if you or anybody you know has a gambling problem, as I always like to let you know, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Somebody will be there to help you out. But I know you guys are looking at that slate and you see some other games, ones that you want me to. But Andy, what about that Edmonton game? I mean, they're winning. Yeah, I don't mind that. You want to take Edmonton? That's completely fine. But Tampa has the type of team that can beat them. Let's not start thinking Edmonton's better than they actually are. Another ruckus opportunity. So I would go over 6.5, 2 points for Braden Point, 1 point for Evan Bouchard, or you can remove the over 6.5 in total and take somebody from the extremely hot line, which is Nugent Hopkins or Hyman for 2 points, and then Braden Point or Victor Hedman for 2 points. The power of ruckus. And then look who we got. A team who I'm going to be taking again. Andy, how could Carolina be such big favorites? They haven't been that great. I know you said that, but how could they be such big favorites? Because the sports books aren't stupid. They know who's on the squad. I know who's on the squad. You don't make me make Vin say it. I'm taking the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't have to explain why. If you need an additional reason, Dylan Larkin still won't be playing. I'll take the Carolina Hurricanes coming off that nice win against the Ottawa Senators. And by the way, one of the teams who could screw you, Buffalo, bet against them again. I'm ripping up the teams who could screw you, and I'm coming for another one. I am taking the Carolina Hurricanes against the Detroit Red Wings. I'm mowing down the screw job teams. Then we can go over to Vancouver, one last one here. People seem excited to take Vancouver. Don't underestimate Florida. Florida's actually a good team, and they laid a big fat egg against the Kraken. I want to go under 6.5 in this one. I know. This one is, I'm not even going to explain it. You want me to explain it, or I'll explain it a little bit. You know how I tell you guys I like betting the under on a team who pitches a shutout in their next game? The same kind of applies with the team who got shut out. I don't like a team who got shut out to come out and light up the score sheet. You know, there are many talented players on the ice, so you do run that risk, but I'm going to take the under 6.5. And going off of what I just said, one little bonus pick, shut out by the Seattle Kraken. I like taking teams after a shutout. They obviously have a very big fat line, but I'll take the under 6.5 there. It's probably at 6. You're going to have to, don't you know, bump it up. I like teams after a shutout. I would take the Kraken and the under in that game. That's what I got for you here on a Thursday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed to this Odd Shopper channel. You guys should come follow me on YouTube because I have a semi-announcement to make about my videos and whatnot that you're going to want to hear. So make sure you subscribe to my, and that's not a clickbait tactic. I despise clickbait tactics. Like when you see a thumbnail that says like Mark Cuban ruins entrepreneur's dream on Shark Tank, and it shows like a thumbnail of a nuclear bomb being sent off on some guy. Then you click on the video and it's Cuban saying like, you know, this isn't really my end of the business spectrum. So I guess I'm out on this one. That's ruining an entrepreneur's dream. But I just have a video update with you guys. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube page. You're going to want to hear what I have to say, and you're going to want to be subscribed if you want to get more videos and whatnot. So make sure you take care of that. I will talk to you guys tomorrow for some Friday sniffs. Take it easy.